Apples, apples, apples. Welcome back to Urban Creative, and in this video, I am dealing with a heap of apples. So, I was recently in my local grocery store and they had bags of apples that were discounted. So, I spent $10 and got 6 to 7 kilos of a variety of apples. So, I decided to put them through my steam juicer. So, first thing, I peeled them and I cored them. I later did some research and realized I didn't have to do that, but that's okay because the peels and cores are not going to go to waste. I had decided that with the leftover pulp from the steam juicing process, I wanted to make applesauce, and I also wanted to have a go at making apple butter. So it ended up that peeling and coring them was actually a benefit when it came later on to making those two products. You can see here I'm just going through the apples, cutting out any bad bits, and they're just going to go into the compost bin later. I have sped this section of the video up quite a bit because it is just me peeling, coring, chopping up apples, and I think in total this took me 45 minutes to get through all of the apples that I had and get them to a state where I wanted to put them into the steam juicer and start that process. I have also made sure over the last few years to do my research when it comes to these sort of food preservation projects, just to ensure that the food that I am preserving is done in a safe way so that it's beneficial and also doesn't make anyone sick. And if you want some links to any of the books and research that I've done, that I've looked into, I can link them in the description down below. My main go to is a canning book that was done in America by their governing agency, I think you would call it. And I found that their recipes in there have been fantastic. I'll make sure I link that down below. And here we are at the stove, steam juicer going at a rolling boil, and all the apples in the colander. I'm just placing the last lot in now, and away it goes. This has been a fantastic investment. It has saved time, and I love the juice that we're getting from being able to use this steam juicer. The way I've been using this steam juicer is to let it run for about half an hour with the fruit or whatever I'm processing in the colander, draining off what it's done so far, and then pouring that back over the hot fruit. I've just found that this just makes it a bit easier to get more juices out of it. And here I actually didn't put enough hot water in, so about halfway through the process I had to refill the bottom pot to ensure it didn't boil dry, because that's something you do not want happening with your steam juicer. You do not want it boiling dry at all. As I mentioned before, those peels and cores are not going to go to waste. Here I'm just filling a clean mason jar with some of the cores to make some apple scrap vinegar. This is not something that I've done before. This is my first go at it. And from what I've read and looked into, it's as simple as putting these in a jar with some nice clean water, a little bit of sugar, and leaving it to ferment and do its process until it sort of turns into that vinegary smell, and then you can put it in a jar and leave it to develop even more. So we'll see how this goes. I also did end up doing another run in the steam juicer with all the rest of the peels and the cores, and I was really impressed that I got nearly 2 liters of juice just from the scraps. It was amazing. I realized after I'd done this jar and recorded it that I forgot to put the sugar in. So I went back later, added the sugar, gave it all a bit of a shake and mix around, placed it back on the shelf. So fingers crossed and hoping that this will work, and we'll see in a few weeks. Here are the 2 jars of applesauce that I got, and you can see the juice in the background there. I was really happy with the flavour of the apples when they came out. And on the stove here is our apple butter. I did cook it for a little bit, just all mixed up together, and I looked at the consistency and I decided, because it's an apple butter, I wanted the consistency to be a lot smoother. I didn't want it to be lumpy. Therefore, using my immersion blender and blending it all up, you can see I've gotten a really smooth, creamy consistency, and this turned out perfect. It's just exactly like a spread. I cooked it a bit longer just to make it a bit thicker, and I love the way this turned out. It has become a new favorite spread in our house and also within the family. We are all loving it. I think the reason this has become so popular with us in our household and in our family is because it tastes like apple pie. It's literally an apple pie spread. It's just phenomenal, and I think I've put it in yogurt. I'm probably going to try it on ice cream. It is just that good. I forgot to turn the camera on when I was filling up all the jars with the apple butter. But as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3 small jars and 2 large jars of the apple butter. There is still some in the pot, and that I just put in a container in the fridge for us to use straight away, because we were wanting to try it out on different things because the taste was just that good, and I just can't get over it. So I started with 6 to 7 kilos of apples. That cost me $10. And at the end of this, we have 7 litres of juice, I think I figured out, 2 500 ml jars of applesauce, and probably about, I want to say 800 grams of apple butter as well. And I just felt that that was an amazing output for a small price and a small amount of apples. So it's been fantastic doing this project. I would definitely do this again on an even larger scale, because I love juice and we just love all these products that we got out of this. As always with canning, I'm just cleaning up as I go, making sure that there is no residue on any of the jar rims, because this is quite sticky. If there is, these lids will not seal properly. So I wanted to make sure that the rims are really super clean so that I don't have any seal failures. I haven't had any seal failures so far with these 2-piece lids that you can see me using. I have had some with the Taters lids, but I'm not quite sure what's going on with that one. I'll have to practice with them a bit more, I feel. I did also make sure to check my recipe and make sure I adhered to the correct headspace and processing time before I put these into my steam canner. They do take the same amount of time, so I was able to put the apple sauce and the apple butter all in together, which was fantastic. As always, thank you for coming along with me and watching this process. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.